Coming up on Midco Motorsports, one of the busiest weeks of the season is in the books for the National Sprint League. We'll recap the NSL's Fair Speed Week stops at Jackson and Huset. The most decorated driver in the history of Rapid Speedway returns to his hometown track. Find out how Darren Cordles fared in the late model street stock special. All that plus the story of a South Dakota native that's aiming to be the fastest woman on earth. The green flag drops now. And how is everybody doing? I'm Jay Elsen, and this is Midco Motorsports. Last week was extremely busy for the National Sprint League as the series held its first Fair Speed Week, which featured 5 events in 3 states in a span of 6 days. Bill Baylock took the opener at Hancock Speedway in Britt, Iowa on Tuesday, while Craig Delansky saw the checkers Wednesday in the first 410 sprint car race at the Iowa State Fair Speedway since 1999. Thursday, the NSL made its way back to Jackson. Ryan Brown, one of several guys looking to score his first NSL victory in Jackson. The JSTS 360 Sprints were also in action, and this one was certainly entertaining. Great battle early between race leader Sawyer Phillips and Derek Lusk. Phillips having trouble getting that right rear tire to stick in the corners. Lusk able to take advantage of that. He grabs the lead briefly, only to see Phillips take it right back. The 3P's issues were far from settled, though. He gets another test later on, this time from Cody Ledger. Poor traction again cost Phillips the lead as it continues to slide up the racetrack. 1 lap later, it would become someone else's problem. Watch this. Phillips, now running third, slides up into the 23W of Scott Winters, and both guys take a nasty spill. Here's a look at it from the MedStar Dirt Track Rescue Team's point of view. Just an ugly, ugly wreck. The good news is both drivers were okay. When the race finally did get restarted, it was smooth sailing for Ledger over the final few laps. He goes on to collect his first career victory at Jackson Speedway.
The name of the game in this sport is patience. You just got to be able to pick cars off when you can, and you just got to be smooth.
On to the big showdown, the 25-lap National Sprint League main event. Sioux Falls native Dusty Zomer started second, but he was number 1 in terms of speed. Zoom set the quick time to start the night, and he looked every bit as fast in the feature. Took him just 5 laps to open up a 3-second lead on the field. He cruises to his first National Sprint League win, becoming the 6th different winner in as many events.
We were close a couple weeks ago in Park Jefferson. We ran second. You get that close, of course, you're always hungry to get it, and so we were happy to seal the deal tonight, and hopefully we got many more to come.
After a detour to Knoxville Saturday, Fair Week wrapped up Sunday at Huset, second appearance of the season for the NSL in Brandon. Pick things up with the hobby stocks. Lap 5, it's a battle of 14s. Jim Ross squaring off with Shane Mueller, and it's Ross who gains the advantage. Mueller not going away, though. After a late caution restart, the 14S makes its move. He uses the high side to get around Ross for the lead. And that was that. Mueller hangs on for the final 3 laps to earn his first ever feature victory.
It's a big monkey off the back. I built this complete home-built car out of our garage that I did for a school project. So this is a pretty special one.
The latest hobby stock standings look like this. Points leader Dustin Gulbranson notched another top 5 finish on Sunday, but the most impressive run of the night came from Logan Fitzpatrick. The L82 climbed 11 spots to finish 3rd. Fitzpatrick trails Gulbranson by 17 points. Huge field for the National Sprint League's main event. 26 cars would start the 35-lap feature. Thursday's winner, Dusty Zomer, started on the pole, and just like he did in Jackson, Zomer jumps out to the early lead. Behind him, Mark Dobmar wastes little time moving into the 2nd spot after starting 3rd. Zomer still out front with 9 to go, but Dobmar gaining ground in traffic, and he finally gets his break right here. Zomer gets caught behind a back marker just long enough for the 13 to slide into the lead. After a late caution, we'd go to a green-white checkered finish. Dobmar gets a great jump, and that would seal it. Dynamite sees checkers for his second NSL win of the year.
Once we got the lap cars, there was heavy lap traffic. There were spots where there was 3 cars wide, and literally he had no hole to make, so it was just a complete roadblock. So he got stuck, kind of bottled up on him, and I was able to use the bottom lane that I tried early in the race, and I knew that was going to be available. I used that to sneak by him, and then once I got out front, I just got on that Huset's cushion and tried ripping it.
Dobmeyer is just the 3rd repeat winner on the National Sprint League circuit this season, with Danny Lasowski and Terry McCarl the others. Lasowski, who still has complete control of the leaderboard, owns a series-high 4 wins and 11 top 5 finishes. Rapid Speedway's all-time winningest driver got a rare run on his hometown track. Find out how Darren Cordles fared in Friday's Late Model Street Stock Special next.
This episode of Midco Motorsports is presented by Rapid Speedway.
Darren Cordles was once a fixture at Rapid Speedway, but these days the opportunities to compete on his hometown track are few and far between. Friday, Rocky's all-time winningest driver would get just his second chance of 2015 as the late model street stocks returned to Rock Rapids. The fans stocked up early for what proved to be another exciting show on Rapids 3A Smile Oval. And it started with another great finish in the sportsman's class. Pole setter Bill Kroon getting hassled by the 61N of Nick Brady. Brady, who saw his 4-race winning streak come to an end the week before, came from 5th to get right on Kroon's bumper. The 14B held him off for the first 7 laps, but as the white flag flies, Brady creates an opening, shoves Kroon out of the way to complete the pass. And it got worse for Kroon as he loses control and ultimately goes from first to worst. Better news for Brady. He gets it done again, winning for the 5th time in 2015.
The car was strong the whole race. I just knew if I hit my marks every time in the corners, I could be able to pull something off, and paid off eventually. It was right there at the end. So, and then just took advantage and went forward from there.
To the hobby stocks, it's been a rough year for Sheldon, Iowa's Todd Ewell, but boy, were things different on Friday. Ewell took command from the start, building a pretty comfortable lead in the 11T. What seemed to be a sure thing was a little less certain as he hit the white flag. Chad Loneman and Justin Regneris had closed the gap considerably, but neither would be able to steal this one away. Ewell, who hadn't finished better than 10th in his first 6 appearances at Rocky this season, leads all 12 laps for the win.
This year's been a little bit of a struggle for me. We've had a lot of maintenance issues and whatnot, so we just really made sure we had the car all prepared and ready to go for the week, and it actually held together and ran good tonight.
Points leader Dustin Gulbranson climbed from 11th to earn his 9th straight top 5 finish on Friday. His lead is now 24 points over Regneris. Lots of action in the USRA stock cars, and it started on lap 1. Brad Klaassen gets off to a great start, passing pole setter Spencer Callis right after the green. Callis would fall even further back here. He does a 180 between 3 and 4 and would end up finishing 6th. On the restart, Rich Gregoire tries to give Klaassen a dose of his own medicine. The 32X doesn't get it done here, but it was a different story moments later. Gregoire shoots past the 45K to take over the top spot. He'd stay there for the next several circuits, but with just a few laps to go, Gregoire finds himself in a battle with Scott Overgaard. The top 2 guys in the points going head-to-head. Overgaard doing everything he can, but Gregoire refuses to let him pass. He holds off Overgaard to pick up his 2nd win of the year.
It means a lot. It's been quite a dry spell here, so hopefully we win a few more.
This particular win was big because it put the 3-time defending track champion back on top of the standings. The nightcap featured Cordles in those late model street stocks. And that familiar 11K would quickly work its way into a very familiar spot as Cordles leads the field out of turn 2. Jesse Ackerman settled into 2nd, but that would be a distant 2nd by the time this thing was said and done. Needless to say, this one was over in a hurry. Cordles rules Rocky yet again as he goes wire to wire for the win.
I'm hoping it just kind of keeps multiplying, although Huset's has been really, really tough this year. We got some really good younger new drivers, the Olivier kid and Van Vorst, Ackerman, Taylor. It's week in and week out. anybody can really win over there. So any momentum we can grab, we're going to take it.
River City Speedway celebrated some of its all-time greats on Friday, but a couple of the track's current standouts stole the show. We'll recap the night in Grand Forks when we come back.
This episode of Midco Motorsports is presented by Rapid Speedway.
And welcome back. Well, 'tis the season for enshrinement. Less than a week after Huset's honored its Hall of Fame class of 2015, River Cities followed suit, inducting its own group of local legends during a ceremony on Friday. And here is a look at that group. Todd Mack, Ken Johnson, Ralph Wilde, and Beaner Spicer honored during the evening's intermission. The Street Stocks feature followed that celebration. Rick Schultz leads the pack to the green flag, but keep an eye on the 10R of Travis Robertson. He moves from 4th to 2nd with this pass right here. Next time by, Schultz spoils what could have been a great night. He gets too high in turn 3 and slides off the racetrack. That gives the lead to Robertson, and he would make the most of it. Robertson drives on for his 5th win in 6 races, while Schultz climbs all the way back to finish 2nd. Now, despite the role he's been on, Robertson's lead in the standings is just 3 points over Jim Geringer. Ryan Flayton is hanging tough as well. He's 9 points back. To the Midwest Modifieds, the 5C of Preston Carr was out front early, but he'd get some company on lap 4. Lance Schill wants the lead. You know what they say, rubbing is racing. The two exchange paint for a full lap before Carr finally gets the best of Schill and spins him off the racetrack. Unfortunately for Carr, he had paid so much attention to Schill that he actually gave the lead to Rick Hamill. The 22H led the pack back to green and wouldn't look back. Hamill works his way through lap traffic and goes on for his 3rd win of 2015.
We just kept doing what we were doing, and the 2 guys ahead of us got a little tangled up, and we got by him and just kept holding the bottom of the track till the end.
We'd see more hard racing in the late models feature as the top 2 guys in the standings went head-to-head. Brad Sang bumps into Dustin Strand here as he tries to take the lead, but Strand holds him off. It looked like the 71 might end up running away with this one as he builds a nice lead on the 12S, but things go south on lap 14. Strand gets a little too high in turn 4, and Sang able to take advantage down low. He takes the lead and eventually takes the win. It's his 3rd of the year.
Dustin Strand, he got out to a jump, and I basically had to go where he wasn't, and took a while for things to happen, but at the end turned out right.
The win moves Sang into a tie with Strand for the top spot on River City's late model leaderboard, but this race is far from over. Let's go to the 410 sprints now. Mark Dobmeyer started 4th, but watch him go way up high once the green flag drops to move into the 2nd spot. 2 laps later, Austin Pierce opens the door for the 13, and Dynamite flows right on through it. Dobmeyer gets the lead and never gives it back. Dobmeyer dominates at River Cities, winning by nearly 3 seconds.
They left that top lane open for me, which is obviously my preferred lane, and I got up, took advantage of that on that first corner, and got around them. And after that, I tried not to leave the top, just railed as hard as I could and ran like a scared chicken.
Now, Dobmeyer is not in contention for the track championship, which looks to be Pierce's to lose. Pierce owns a 37-point advantage on Wade Nygaard. Casey Mack is running 3rd. The NOSA Sprint cars made a special stop at Norman County Raceway. We'll get to them in a bit. Picking up with the Midwest Modifieds feature, it'd be a rough night for Hickson, North Dakota's Tyler Peterson. Lap 1, Peterson goes spinning in turn 3 and ends up leaking a little fuel. That was just the start. With 6 to go, Peterson working his way back toward the front when trouble finds him again. Peterson caught the tire on the inside of the track and ends up backwards again. He started 3rd and ends up 13th. No such problems for Jason Strand of the E85. The man from Portland, North Dakota started 2nd, but led almost the entire race. He cruises to his first win in Ada since June 11th. The street stocks have also been highly competitive this season, and they showed it again Thursday. There's that Travis Robertson guy again. The 10R started 5th, but he's climbing. Robertson picks off Ryan Pomeroy for 2nd with 10 to go and then takes aim at the 67 of Ryan Satter. Those two came in 1-2 in the points, and they would fight for first with everything they had. Robertson gets the lead briefly on 2 occasions, but Satter responds both times. Fast forward to the final lap, Robertson has enough in the tank for one last charge, but Satter was just a little bit better. He holds off Robertson in a fantastic finish. Satter's second win of the year moves him past Robertson for the top spot in the chase for the track championship, but I doubt that we've seen the last of that 10R. The most anticipated race of the night, of course, was that NOSA Sprint Special. 13 laps in, pole setter Casey Mack is still out front, but coming hard on the outside is Fargo's Lee Gross. Gross, who won last year's feature in Ada, passes Wade Nygaard for second. The 4J didn't stop there. One lap later, Gross rides the high side to take the lead away from Mack. The 8 car wouldn't go quietly though. Mack counters with 3 to go, charging down the back chute to take the top spot back. And that would be the final lead change of the night. Mack notches his second win of the season and the first for his career at Norman County. Jessi Combs used a rocket to make history, but that's only part of the South Dakota native's claim to fame. Her story is coming up next.
This episode of Midco Motorsports is presented by Rapid Speedway.
Many people spend their lives looking for the fast track to fame, but sometimes fame finds them. That's exactly how it happened for Rapid City native Jessi Combs, who's used her unique skill set to create a life filled with incredible opportunities and meaningful milestones. Her story is the focus of tonight's Inside Track. To an outsider, the landscape of western South Dakota is merely a highlight to an otherwise flat and forgettable stretch of American countryside. But those that truly understand and embrace the lay of this land view it as one of nature's perfect playgrounds.
You have all sorts of diverse terrain between the Badlands and the hills and the rocks and the prairies even. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do in the state of South Dakota that a lot of people, I think, have no clue how amazing the state really actually is.
Jessi Combs knows full well. She spent most of her childhood exploring the unlimited recreational opportunities that Rapid City and the surrounding area have to offer.
I mean, we could go rock climbing, we could go cliff jumping, we could go motorcycle riding, we could go racing. There's so many different things to do that I think because of all of those things to do, that's kind of led me into this, I guess you could say, world of extreme things. I love taking risks, and South Dakota was one of those places that you could take those risks in somewhat of a conservative state where it was still actually allowed to go out and kind of break the rules or go out and break the barriers, I guess you could say, and still get away with it.
Combs developed a fascination for the machines that helped her break those rules. But she wanted to do more than just drive them. She wanted to understand them and ultimately create them. After passing up a full-ride scholarship to a prominent interior design school and a brief attempt at a professional snowboarding career, Combs made her way to Wyotech in Laramie, Wyoming, where she earned a degree in custom automotive fabrication.
I can pretty much build a vehicle from the ground up. Chassis fabrication, street rod fabrication, paint, body, trim, upholstery, high-performance engines, you name it, I can pretty much do it.
She didn't just do it, she did it well. So well, in fact, that the school offered her a full-time job building its show cars. And that opened the door to something she'd never envisioned. Combs was invited to appear as a guest fabricator on the television show Overhauling, which marked the beginning of an entirely new career. 11 years later, Combs has appeared on a number of other shows, even serving as host for programs like Extreme 4x4, Mythbusters, All Girls Garage, and Overhauling.
When I was going to school, I fully thought that I was going to be going back to Rapid City, South Dakota to build motorcycles, and that's what I thought I was going to do. And then this whole little side path came about, and here I am, kind of I hate to say it because I don't think that I am, but I'm somewhat of a celebrity now, so it's kind of weird.
While her ever-improving skill set has pulled her in several different directions, Combs has never lost sight of her first love, speed. You name it, she's probably raced it. Professionally, Combs prefers off-road, but that's as close as she'll come to picking a favorite.
I love racing desert because of the challenge, the ever-changing terrain. You never know if you're going to get hard pack, soft pack, gravel, hills, dirt, silt. You never know what you're going to get in the stretch of the Baja Peninsula, so I love that. I love racing Ultra 4 because you got the mix of rocks and it's a dual-purpose built vehicle. And then rally is something that there's car control. There's massive car control that you don't necessarily need to have in anything else. Flinging your car around, driving sideways over a crest, it's kind of awesome.
All of those avenues come with a rush, but it's the one just short of flying that would help Combs accomplish one of her lifelong goals.
I want to be in the Guinness Book of World Records, and I don't think I'd have the patience to actually grow the longest fingernails in the world. You know, like, what was I going to do to be in the Guinness Book of World Records? Well, why not be the fastest woman on 4 wheels? It makes complete sense for what I do and what I love to do, and I love going fast, so when that opportunity presented itself, I had to say yes.
The opportunity came in the form of the North American Eagle Supersonic Speed Challenger, which is an F-104 fighter jet without wings.
The North American Eagle is set to break the overall land speed record, which is set at 763 miles an hour right now. So their goal is the car could go over 800 miles an hour. But to help gain a little bit more awareness on the car, they wanted to put a female in while we're doing these testing sessions.
Combs got her chance on October 9th, 2013 at the Elver Desert in southeastern Oregon. And the rest is history. Combs' official mark of 392.954 miles per hour with a top speed of more than 440 shattered the previous land speed record for women, which had stood for 48 years.
What was the number? Good.
Oh, that feels so good!
By nearly 85 miles an hour.
Give it to him.
440.4.
Those that know Jessi Combs realize the record is just a chapter in what has become a pretty incredible story. They also know that Combs has no intention of slowing down, because limits are the one thing this South Dakota native refuses to accept.
One of the things that I think of why I've had so much success is that I've been open to a lot of opportunities that have come across my path. If I decided that, hey, I'm just gonna go back to South Dakota and I'm gonna build motorcycles, I wouldn't be where I am today. Don't get me wrong, if I could just get paid to drive every single day, I would love it, but then I'd be missing out on building things in the garage. And if I was just building things in the garage, then I wouldn't be able to share that with the rest of the world on television. So I think the spectrum that I have going here is a well-balanced spectrum where I can have the exposure, I can have the fun, and I can still use my skills all in the same turn.
Combs now has her sights set on becoming the fastest woman in the world, period. To earn that title, she'll have to break the 3-wheel land speed record, which is currently held by former Hollywood stuntwoman Kitty O'Neal. Ironically, O'Neal, who's now retired, now makes her home in Eureka, South Dakota. We'll share her story on the August edition of Midco Sports Magazine. That's slated for Tuesday, August 4th at 8:30, right here on Midco Sports Network. Well, we have reached the white flag. We'll wrap things up with a look at your weekend schedule next.
This episode of Midco Motorsports is presented by Rapid Speedway.
Here's a look at your Midco Motorsports calendar for the weekend ahead. Enjoy the races, everyone. We'll see you back here next week.